Welcome back, football fans, to another episode of Necessary Roughness right here on the Bite Size Sports Network. As always, I'm your host, John Boyd, joined by my faithful co hosts, Nick and Zach. Before we get into it, gentlemen, how have you been? Wednesday episode, so it's been 8 days since I talked to you. Uh, how have you been? What'd you think about week 5 as a whole?
I've been chilling. Week 5 sucked, as 4 out of 5 weeks have sucked so far.
Yep.
Put up a better performance than I thought that we would against the Dolphins, so kudos to that. But our offensive line can't guard a parked car, so little unfortunate on that end. But Nick, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, as you said, it was the first game of Sunday, and I was amped up, and I was yeah, we're in London, baby. Let's go have a day. And then I was oh, you're hurt, flag, you're hurt, flag, you're hurt. I was yeah, this game isn't fun. And then it ended, and I was okay. So, yeah, it's not fun. The rest of the day was just kind of sitting in loneliness. Nobody was there with me, and yeah, great week, y'all. And the Chiefs get all the calls. That's what we like to see.
Chiefs get all the calls, dude.
How you doing, John?
Not good.
He says not good.
No, we'll be all right. Jordan Addison season.
Jordan Addison to the promised land.
Yeah, but
AJ Osborne, baby.
Yeah.
Please.
I'm all and we'll start with the JJ injury here. It sucks too because it's that damn turf. Kelsey's still questionable. They both had really goofy kind of plants on one foot or another that and Jason Kelsey was sort of explaining this on his podcast with Travis. But he was saying that when you slip on turf, when you have like a little bit of a slip, it's not like when you slip on grass where you kind of just slide through. You'll slip for like a few inches and then catch traction.
Exactly.
And it's just super unnatural.
You get stuck in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of all the non-contact injuries, and he even said, people are kind of pointing specifically to this slit film turf, but he thinks it's just all turf that they should get rid of.
Absolutely.
He was funny about it, but he was saying you can grow grass inside. You can get UV lights. He was like, they got whole warehouses growing pot right now inside. They got whole things full of pot. So that was pretty funny. If you never watched the Kelsey podcast,
some sporting event, wasn't there a thing where they were like making a grass field for like 2 years and then they just like slid it in through the stadium? It was at a football stadium. I know that.
I remember that.
That does sound really familiar. Yeah, I can't remember who that was.
Wasn't it the Super Bowl, or am I tweaking?
Might have been.
That was. I thought that was a turf that didn't have enough time to like dry out or like set or something like that.
Did the field in the Super Bowl last year have turf or grass? Because I remember a lot of people were having a problem with it.
I'm honestly not sure. I just remember there being a sporting event where they were growing a field for like 2 years and then just slid it into the stadium.
It might have been the Super Bowl last year, and then it ended up being really ass because everyone was like, "This is terrible." I remember like the.
Well, yeah, that was a huge thing. I just can't remember if that was genuine grass. I thought it was like a. Oh, here we go.
Nate
coming in hot from the top rope.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Out of left field.
But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things where, you just saw probably arguably the two best pass catchers, probably definitely the two most popular pass catchers in the sport, go down with non-contact injuries. So you got to think the league's thinking about that. Just from a marketability and profitability standpoint, like if the wrong guys get hurt, that really drive a lot of viewership, especially a lot of fringe viewership that might not be just watching every game like we do and maybe just tunes in because Kelsey's dating Taylor Swift, or they want to see a gritty. It's really like really big time athletes that can go down with stuff like this. So yeah, Nate's with us. It's just ridiculous. And with the JJ injury, it's going to be difficult. I think the offense will still be decent. I'm really pissed at TJ Hawkinson though too. He's just been so soft. Really, really this whole season. Three drops on Sunday against Kansas City. All three of which hit him in the hands, none of which were particularly easy catches. But one of the highest paid tight ends in the NFL hit him in the hands. Minor contact. It's something you got to pull in. So that's kind of like the national perspective is like, oh well, no, TJ Hawkinson can step up and Jordan Addison can. And it's like, yeah, in theory, he's had a rough stretch early on too. So I'm pretty worried about it. JJ to the IR, so that'll put him out at least 4 weeks. That's how the IR works, and it's a hamstring, so it could be all year. Hamstrings are so weird that it's really going to be just reevaluated after that 4-week period, which really sucks for the game of football. There's another injury that sucks for the game of football that I think we'll just get to on the back end of the show when Kev and James join us to break down the Colts-Titans matchup that they were in attendance of. But that's Anthony Richardson, so we'll get to that when we can get a fan perspective on that as well. But so let's start negative. Let's get the bad news out of the way, right? And I'm not talking about any of our teams anymore.
Oh wait, can I just say one more thing?
Yes.
About the Justin Jefferson thing, I would not be surprised if he holds out all year just because he didn't get his contract extension yet either. So there's no reason for him to try to rush it if he hasn't gotten his money, essentially.
Yeah, I think it really depends on where the team's at after these next 4 games. He's not the type of guy to sit out if there's a playoff push to be made. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But exactly, there's not a ton of personal incentive for him there, outside of just being that teammate that everybody wants to have. But going into his 5th-year option next year, it's not like we've reached an extension deadline. It's not like he's hitting the market this offseason, but it is tough. Even just given the fact that his price is only going to go up as the market bloats further with more contracts that get signed in the interim, that's what pisses me off about it. I think he still gets a second contract in purple for sure. And it could affect this season, but I think anything that even would have seemed crazy out of proportion as far as an APY goes that they would have signed this offseason will probably be significantly less than what he'll get when they actually do reach that agreement. Once some more contracts have been signed, he's gonna want to reset the market regardless, and he should. But that market's only going up, so that's what kind of sucks about it too in the long term. But let's talk about another shitty team. How about let's do a little Patriots autopsy. So I think they're dead, and I want to know from you guys. Nick, we'll start with you since they're in your division, and Zach, we'll come to you second since yours is the only team to beat them twice in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Big Tom on the or slinging the rock.
Big Tom, you saw that team at its best. But yeah, Nick, we'll start with you. What do you think the cause of death is here? They've been difficult to watch. I'm not sure how many Patriots games you've watched, but I'm sure you've kept up with it.
Yeah.
Either way, so what do you? I mean, what's the big issue there? They've got talent on defense. They've got a little bit of talent on offense, but you always expected this team to be a lot more competent under Belichick, and they just got beaten down 34-0. So, I mean, what do you think's going wrong over there, at least chiefly?
Well, you saw it early in the year. Like they hung tight with Miami, who is, it's a tough team to hang tight with, especially when you're not in. Like I think a lot of people wouldn't say that they're in that realm of Miami like at all. So the fact that they're tight, it's like, oh, okay, like they're always tough to like beat. Even if they don't have the best roster. New England
And they gave Philly a little bit of trouble too.
Trouble, yeah. Like you have like that. It's a tough game always. Like when you play New England, you'll win probably now, but like it's tough. And then all of a sudden Dallas just, and then New Orleans. We watched it, we saw it. That's not Belichick. That's just not. And I've been watching it for years and years, and you're always like, yeah, at the end, Well, before 2020, it was like, yeah, they'll win their 12 games and they'll go to the Super Bowl. Like, so that's the Belichick way, and this is not. And it's even after Tom left, they would still hang tight. They'd make the playoffs. They'd be at least close. Now, I think that it's a confidence thing for the defense. I think that when you go out there and you see the offense do absolutely nothing to help you, you kind of go out there like, boys, like, what are we doing? Like, we're going to keep doing this, and then Mac's going to throw another pick six. Like, what's the point? So I think that when you're a defense and you have a lot of talent like that, it's tough to play for your offense when your offense isn't playing for you. So I think that it's a correlation of both just the offense being so inept that it can't move the ball. Mac Jones has regressed considerably, and he's trying to make plays that aren't there. And I think that even when players like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow try to make plays that aren't there, rarely do those work. And then we're looking like, yeah, man, but like, Josh, like in the Jets game, he was just trying to like, fit it in. He can do that at some points. Mac Jones can't do that at all. Like he was never known as the guy who can fit the ball in close spaces, like pause, but like whatever. Like he was never able to do that. In Alabama, if you watch his highlights, everything, it was like kind of Brock Purdy in San Francisco. Everything was wide open. People were just like, hey, like Mac, just throw it to me, man. I'm wide open. Like that ain't gonna happen in New England. We kind of knew that. And now we're seeing a complete, 360 of what happened last year where, they were able to like kind of get him in situations where like they were open so he can throw those little 5-yard outs. But now like they're running down the field and he's like not like Mac Jones isn't somebody who's going to throw you open. And so you gotta make a nice route, and he has to have like a Diggs, Jefferson type player. Does not. So I think that Belichick is kind of over in and over his head over here. Like you got two teams in the division that are elite. You got one that could have been elite if Aaron Rodgers didn't go down, and then you're kind of just like I've been confused on why they're not making any moves. I'm like, are they good? Like, are they good? I guess they're good, and then they're not. Like they're not, like they're not good. So it's nice to see that they're finally like crumbling, and it's kind of funny because they were like so great all those years. But I think the cause of death was just the fact that the Cowboys sunned them, and then Mac Jones lost all of his confidence. He's been benched twice in a row, and the defense doesn't even want to play for the offense if the offense is going to do what they're doing.
Yeah, it really does seem like a confidence thing for Mac Jones. I think his rookie year, he kind of came in pretty rizzed up. Did I use that right?
Sure.
But just kind of ready for it. The expectations weren't particularly high of him, I don't think, his rookie year. And fifth quarterback selected, even going at 15. But I think those rose. And especially when Bill O'Brien came back to call the offense, you were kind of thinking like, okay, they might be able to salvage some of this. They let Jacoby Myers walk, and you're like, okay, well, what's their plan there? Is it just a big Kendrick Bourne season coming? We know they like those tight ends, but then they ship Jonnu Smith out, and you're like, okay, are we? And then the Gesicki edition with Hunter Henry, and you're like, all right. But it just hasn't really made sense. You're right. There's no urgency when it comes to like just general personnel acquisition.
Especially with acquisitions that are in the division. Like you see what everyone's doing. Miami gets Jalen Ramsey. They get Waddle is a stud. Buffalo goes and gets Von Miller. Oh, now they get Dalton Kincaid. Oh, do you see that? Or then the Jets obviously doing everything, trying to make it. New England, no. What
Nope.
you're doing doesn't work. What are you doing?
Yeah, we get back J.C. Jackson. Woo!
Yeah,
that was the most Patriots thing ever. That was like the Jamie Collins treatment. Like we're not gonna pay you, but if some other team does and it doesn't work out, you can come back for pennies on the dollar.
But I'm just saying, when everybody else is making moves that you crushed for years, I don't even know. Belichick isn't the type of guy to be like, let's let Miami have their fun, dude. He used to murder Miami like that. What are you doing? I don't know. It's crazy to me, but it's where we are now. It's 2023.
Yep, Patriots are dead. It's finally fully a new era, I think.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it could somehow already be fatigue too, because like you guys said, they hung around the first couple weeks with Philadelphia and
Miami.
Like they just emptied the clip in the first 2 weeks.
Yes. Now they're just somehow they're already tired or banged up or whatever you want to call it. Like Nick said, the defense doesn't want to play for that offense. I think you desperately need a new quarterback, so maybe get Carson Wentz on the phone and see.
No.
Yeah.
No. You need a Caleb Williams type player, and you need a new head coach.
Well, yeah, but you need something in the meantime, and right now that could be a cheap addition of Carson Wentz.
Why?
In my opinion. But their receiving core sucks, so that doesn't help.
They get Carson Wentz. You want to compete?
If they want to compete, or at least look competitive.
No, I think they're cool with sucking right now. The rest of the division won't let them compete.
But if you're going to keep benching your starting quarterback in the meantime, then what's really the point of that? Why not just
the optics are abysmal.
I don't know.
Around that whole organization.
It's either you can look like total trash with Mac Jones, or you can look like somewhat competent trash with Carson Wentz.
If you're losing the games anyway, at the end you're going to have 14 losses. I don't think it matters. But, why would Carson take that job?
I don't know. Maybe he just wants to get back on the field, show what he's worth, because he's been trying to make a comeback so he could show other teams I could still play with a good team. We've seen with good rosters, he's good.
Yeah. I'm just saying, if you're going to be bad at this point, you're not competing this year at all. So, obviously. So, I don't know. Ride it out with Mac. At the end of the year, make some drastic changes. Belichick's gone. Mac's gone. Draft a quarterback. Just ride, man. I know it's weird for the Patriots to do that, but that you got to be like the Houston Texans, and you got to be like, hey, I don't know who their next head coach is going to be. I don't know who their next quarterback is going to be. I hope for their sake it's a rookie so they can start fresh. Mac isn't the guy. He's like Jordan Love. He's a backup. That's just what he is. He's a backup quarterback. And I think they drafted him way too high. And so yeah, I just think that yes, they're dead, but they could with the defense they have and the talent they have on defense, they really could revive it quickly. But I've just seen no moves other than the Jackson move, I guess, that have made me feel like, hey, okay, they're actually trying to do something. Because over the offseason, the last couple of years, I've been so confused about their moves. I just don't really agree with any of them.
Well, hopefully what the Giants can do is snag that first overall pick and then trade it for some of their O linemen, and then everyone wins.
The Patriots offensive line are the worst.
Could get Mike Onwenu. He might be pretty good. They, as a whole, though, that unit's been pretty bad.
So yeah, Patriots and Giants right now have the worst two offensive lines in football.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's jump to. We talked a little bit at the top of the show, but it was a bloody football game in London. And kind of Bills coming back to earth a little bit. I think just obliterated the Dolphins, who coming into that week were coming off a 70 ball. Hi, sweetheart. Why are you awake? Yeah, here we go. But it was a really well played game by Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah.
I think all of us watched it. Nick, you talked about it being that first game of the day and kind of having to take your medicine early. But What do you think went wrong? What do you think went wrong for Josh Allen and the boys going down to Jacksonville?
Well, London.
No. You mean like
losing to Jacksonville, I meant.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, I've talked about it at length this week, but if they would have lost like a high scoring game, I would have been like, damn, like Jacksonville obviously just played better. They got the upper hand. They won. Good job. But we didn't score our 14th point until 4 minutes 35 in the fourth quarter. They had 7 points, and that's just not the way the Bills play. So I honestly, and it's an excuse. I understand, no excuses, but I just don't think it's fair that the Jaguars were there for 2 weeks and we kind of just hopped on a plane and we're like, hey, now we're here and we're tired as shit. Josh said it in an interview. He said, I'm like exhausted. And one of my boys was like, hey, like Josh is exhausted. I said, don't worry about Josh. He'll be fine. He was not fine. He was obviously tired, sleepwalking out there. And at the end of the game, he realized that he needed to make some plays, and he was like, shit. So we scored in 4 plays at the end, and I was like, there we go. But the game's kind of over already. The whole game, it felt like we were sleepwalking. There were so many injuries. The turf was horrible. I heard Jaguar players also complain about it, by the way. It's not just the Bills players. So yeah, I don't think that we came back to earth. I think that the way that we played against Miami, Washington, and Las Vegas is the way that we're capable of playing every week. But when you play a team that had already been in London for 2 weeks and we kind of just got there, and and obviously we lose Matt Milano for the year, Daquan Jones for the year, 2 of our best players. Milano's the best, and it's just brutal. So the defense was trying out there. They're kind of just like running with their heads cut off. Jacksonville, we actually turned them over a few times. AJ Epinesa played the best game of his career.
Epinesa I was going to ask you about him, yeah.
He played the best game of his career, kind of filling in. By the way, Greg Rousseau also not playing. So you had no Greg Rousseau, no Trey White, no Matt Milano, no Daquan Jones. Poyer coming back from an injury. Like, what the hell do you expect? And
Daquan Jones, by the way, too, he's kind of that the run stopper for you guys. You really felt when you were missing him down the stretch last season. But he's also one of the best in pass rush win rate for interior defensive linemen.
Yeah,
that's a huge loss, underrated loss. Yeah.
Yeah, people probably don't know who the hell that is. He was in like the top 10 on a PFF stat of win. So again, I will say it at length, the people that were out, and you got Dorian Williams, who's a rookie, who's like, hey, McDermott's like, hey, you got to play now, man. And it's like, Kyer Elam coming in for Trey White, he's ass, straight up. Kyer Elam's not good. And we've known that. In Florida, he was great. You know why? Because everybody else around him was good, and he's a man corner, and we play zone. So that isn't going to work. I don't know why we drafted him. He's a cool player, really smart guy, but he's not going to work in this system. He can't get coached up by Trey White. Trey White's got his own issues right now. So we have a lot of issues. Offensively, thank God, like 17 and 14 are still alive. They didn't die, but it was kind of like just brutal to watch. It's so many flags too. Such an uncharacteristic game. I think we came into the game the least flags team in the league, and we had the most flags of any team I think this season. I was like that's watching your favorite team play and just being completely confused about what's going on. And I think that is a huge, reference to like the London thing. Listen. And Micah Hyde said, I hate that place. I hope that we never play there again. I saw Roger Goodell do a video. There was a video, and he said, we're just going to kind of experiment and see, if a team's there for 2 weeks and then the other team comes in, let's see, are they going to play fine? Or what are you doing? What do you mean experiment with these players, livelihoods and health? It was really frustrating. I thought Josh actually played really well at the end. He had 360 passing yards. He still leads the league in completion percentage. He ended it with three touchdowns. He had that arm punt, which actually helped. I don't know. I don't think we played bad. I just think the injuries and they were definitely tired. I think I hope they didn't like go out for beers the night before in London, because like if that happened, that didn't help you guys at all either.
A pub?
So yeah, we luckily we got the Giants coming up on Sunday night, and then we got a lot of other easy teams coming up. So hopefully we get right, but that game was annoying. But as I said, like a lot of injuries, we're gonna have to deal with them, and it's next man up, great, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. You think the playing service would have been any better in Andy's room?
Yeah, it would have been better in Andy's room. Yeah, they fucking first game they got to play in what was it, Wembley, and then the second game Tottenham's much worse, I heard. So I don't know why they get to play in Wembley and then not Wembley again. Like Tottenham sucks.
That's really
beautiful.
Weird.
Yes, it's beautiful, but the playing surface is horrible. They said it's like getting to, like it's saying that they were saying that like when you went down on the ground, it's like concrete. Like, bro, that's brutal.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
I was also gonna say, like, I don't know, with the Bills, I get like the injury thing is a big concern, but they still didn't let up that many points on defense.
Exactly, but we gave up a lot of.
Like they still played a competent game, but I feel like the offense was both tired and they get like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like complacent after like a big win, like against Miami, because they go into the game thinking, oh, we just washed the Dolphins like 48-20. Like we're gonna be on this huge high, and then they get humbled by Lord Farquaad with blonde hair. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm scared to play the Bills this weekend. We're about to get blown out by like 80, but
you don't want to play Josh Allen if he's lost.
Like we're about to get blown out by 80, especially because Tyrod Taylor is probably going to be the starting QB for that game because Daniel Jones has a minor neck injury.
Ooh, Tyrod revenge game.
Yeah, I love it. It's not a revenge game. It's my favorite player of all time.
But I think that the word I use is right? Complacent with the Bills.
I don't know. It's yeah. I mean, they did win 38-10 and then 37-3 and then 48-20. So I don't know if they got complacent in those games. But maybe I just feel.
I'm saying coming off that 3-game stretch where they were like on the highest peak, and then
yeah. I don't know if they're gonna like. They obviously would never say like we were tired. They would never say that. But like I would love to just be boys with them and be like, Josh, like were you tired? Like yeah. I was like, oh okay. Like but like I will never hear that from his mouth because he'll never say that to any reporter. So, like I don't know. Maybe we got complacent. Like I can't believe we didn't score over 7 points until 4 minutes, and like what? Like we've lost games before, like John, like the Minnesota game last year. We put points up early though, and then y'all came back. We're not at 7 like late. It was just so weird. 7 points late, a million penalties, a million injuries, giving up a bunch of yards, especially on third down. It was just like the most uncharacteristic Bills game I've ever seen. And I feel bad for the London fans because they were like, hey, let's see like a Bills game. That was not, dude. The weirdest shit ever. So yeah, we'll never be there again, unfortunately, for your London fans. And come to Buffalo. Like, well, you'll have a good time there.
Well, they want to put a team like permanently in London, right? So the Bills might have to go there.
We're not going to. That would never happen. They would put Jacksonville there. It's the damn London Jacksonville Jaguars.
It'd have to be the INFL.
Yeah, they were thinking about what for an expansion? Germany and London.
Germany can't.
Oh, that'd be terrible. I would hate that.
Yeah, it'd be awful. But
I wouldn't even really like a Mexico City one, just because like
Commodores.
Yeah, like it'll just
City Commodores.
Dude, the complications it adds to like the travel schedule and everything is just like not worth it. I don't think for the extra revenue. Like everybody down there can stream it or buy a flight. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Especially we're talking about another preseason anyway, AFC contender. But Zach, what are your thoughts right now on Cincinnati, just in the context of, you kind of have two sides of this where, you have folks saying, oh, Bengals are back. That was what a Bengals passing offense looks like. They hit some deep shots, had some juice. And then there's a lot of folks who are like, well, I don't think we actually know anything now after that because all they did was beat up on the Cardinals, which at the end of the day is just taking care of business if you are a team like Cincinnati. Lou Anarumo's defense looked good again, but the magnifying glass has been on Burrow in the passing game for the most part so far this season. So do you feel like they kind of turned a corner in this game, or are you kind of the camp that's like, well, let's see how they do these next couple games against some better competition before we get any confidence back in this group?
Well, when Jamar says that he's fucking open, he is open. 15 receptions, a ton of yards, 3 tuds.
Open.
Yeah. Like I said last week on the show, I feel like this is like a feel it out game with Burrow against the Cardinals. Obviously, he looked like the Joe Burrow that we know. I mean, not as much with the power, again, because he's still a little injured, but putting up over 300 passing yards, right?
Yeah, and he didn't get sacked that much because he was getting the ball out quicker.
Yeah. So I think he looked very solid, obviously, compared to the first 4 games of the year. But like you said, it's a game against the Cardinals. I don't think just yet that we can say, oh, the Bengals are back, because it's the Cardinals. Yes, they beat the Cowboys. Yes, they almost beat the Giants. But outside of that, we know what their roster is on paper, and they played like their roster is on paper. They didn't outperform like they've been doing all year.
Yeah, I think they start performing like we expected them to. More like they're like week 12. It's gonna be like, yeah, Arizona sucks.
Yeah,
like early in the year, go hyped up, but like, okay, yeah, they suck. So like, yeah, I don't know.
exactly. So it's just like, I feel like it's going to be a good confidence booster for Joey B. It's going to be good on Jamar now that he finally got his 15 receptions in a game, which is absurd. But I think moving forward, the offense should click a little better, especially now that he can rest that ankle a little more after not being sacked so many times. But that's where I'm at on that.
Good answer.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I think they'll figure it out just as long as Burrow gets healthy, but they were able to kind of scheme up ways for him to get the ball out a little quicker. The protection held up better than it has because he can't really evade pressure still.
Yeah.
He's still not all the way back to that point. So, but it felt like earlier on in the season, they weren't really catering to that as much. There were some longer developing concepts that he didn't have enough time or wasn't able to buy enough time for, like he usually is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I think they'll turn around. I think the defense is one of the best coached groups in the league, one of the more talented groups in the league. So that should help. And the more acclimated that new safety duo gets, they're so important to Lou Anarumo's scheme with how he uses his safety. So, the more experience they gain on the back end as part of this scheme, I think they'll figure it out. But I still have. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, another thing I want to say about Cincinnati, or a thing I want to say, because I didn't really say anything, but like when you get into the playoffs and the nitty gritty, you don't need your quarterback to throw for damn 350 yards and 4 touchdowns. You don't like when they made the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, he won the games, quote unquote, but like. He didn't play great in the Tennessee game. They just won. He didn't play awesome. Like he was getting away from like he'd make great plays, and but he wasn't like stat line. He didn't look fantastic. Where it's like, damn, like Josh Allen against Miami last week. Like, wow. It was more just like, hey, just win the damn game, right? Like the defense steps up. You get some gritty type plays. You get away from some defenders and make first downs. So. Even if he's still like this, but like they, figure out a way to get to like 9-10 wins, they are a scary team when it comes to those like first few rounds in the playoffs because they've already shown and proven they're road warriors. They don't need to be at home at all. They beat like almost every AFC team you can think of on the road in the playoffs already. And you don't need to throw for all these yards and make all these 4 touchdown games. That's ridiculous. When Brady used to do it and Peyton Manning, like they weren't doing that either. And they were in the AFC Championship game and everybody's calling them one of the greatest of all time, which they are. So just because he doesn't look fantastic, he is injured. And just because they're 2-3, they also have had some really tough breaks. I thought their defense looked fantastic in the Rams game. and also in this Arizona game, that might be like the unsung hero of this team going forward and like late in the year. And then you just got Joey B to make a play for you with Chase, who's always open apparently. And like, that's going to be a really good team and dangerous team. Just because they're 2-3 now, and just because they beat Arizona, I think that the way that they beat Arizona and the fact that like it wasn't like 20-17, because I actually took Arizona win, I was a lot more impressed with Cincinnati last week than I thought I was going to be. And I'm going to give them credit because I was hating on them. Like, they actually have the ability to be very dangerous, even if Joe Burrow doesn't like be the MVP favorite.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bengals will be dangerous, but I'm sticking to my AFC North champion pick, and I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers, despite their anemic offense under Matt Canada. That defense is just so legit. So legit. The Ravens were on their way to sweep the division on the road, having already beaten the Browns and the Bengals on the road. And but down the stretch, and this was like one of the ugliest games you'll ever see, but I'm still of the opinion that AFC North football is the best television in the sport.
I did tell you it was the best game of the week.
Yes, this was your game. And it just always is, man. AFC North, when two teams are good, particularly the Steelers and the Ravens over the last 2 decades, have been some of the best, most contentious, most meaningful games across the league. And I think this might have been another one because the Ravens were really starting to get hot. Would have been able to really take I think it would be a 1.5 game lead on the division. They'd be 2 wins ahead of any other team in the division. But Steelers now holding the tiebreaker are actually the leaders, with them both being 3-2. And down the stretch, so it was 10-3 Ravens going into the 4th, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when the Steelers defense really turned it on. It already was, they were grinding it out all game already. It was a defensive battle. But once it was 10-3, they forced Baltimore to punt from I think inside their own 30, and the punt gets blocked, or inside there. It was in the inside the 20 because it was recovered all the way into the end zone. Punt blocked, safety. So it's 10-5 now. Gross. The Steelers take the ball back, go down, get a field goal, 10-8. So it was the blocked punt. Then they force a Baltimore 3-and-out. Then it was an interception. Then it was a strip sack, fumble recovery on an Alex Highsmith strip and a TJ Watt recovery. And then they turned it over on downs on their final possession. So that defense for Pittsburgh just really kicked into 5th gear without Cam Hayward on the field. Joey Porter had a huge interception on an OBJ goal line fade, a ball Lamar probably shouldn't have thrown. At least it was a pretty lazy ball. Let's put it that way. And OBJ didn't even have anything of a size advantage. We talked about Joey Porter's big old 34-inch arms. He's pushing 6'2". OBJ a little bit shorter than that, not quite as long, and Porter just boxed him out. That was a huge play. Alex Highsmith still, I think, is one of the more underrated edge rushers in the NFL. And I think the Ravens will be fine too. I think somebody looked at the standings, and I think it's Steelers 3-2, Ravens 3-2, 2-3, 2-3, and it was one of those PFF posts where it's like, who's winning this division with the graphics or whatever. And somebody said, well, none of them are good. And it's like, no, the problem is they're all good. Right. They're just going to beat the shit out of each other all year. They have to play each other 6 times. So the records might not reflect the actual quality of these teams. I think all 4 of them will be in the mix well into December for a playoff berth. So, but I still got the Steelers, man. That defense is just nuts. Ravens, I think, will be fine. Another tight end in the Stoneheads.
Yeah, I kind of.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I kind of have to rebuke that. I think I still have the Ravens winning that division personally, as long as their
Yeah, I can
offense,
see it.
as long as their offense is clicking like it's supposed to. That defense is still clamped, so that's where I'm going.
Defense is good. Yeah, that's the thing. They're all good. I just think the Steelers are so. They're one of the teams out of that bunch whose defense can really just snatch a game and win it for them. The home opener against Buffalo last year,
Yeah.
where I mean that was all the Pittsburgh defense really just wrecking the game. I think when you have a guy like T.J. Watt who requires so much attention, like the Browns do with Myles Garrett, I just it seems like the Steelers scheme a little bit better around that to exploit it, and they have more potent secondary and tertiary pass rush options than Cleveland, even with Za'Darius. The way when Cam Hayward's healthy, Keanu Benton looks like a monster out of Wisconsin. Highsmith. They're just gonna be really dangerous. And I think if too we get some of that production closer to like the high end projection of Joey Porter Jr., then all of a sudden it's a really, really dangerous group with Minka. But I think that defense could really carry them. And you gotta think the offense will progress to the mean just a little bit. Like they can't be this terrible.
It's not up
year,
to the offense.
right?
It's up to that guy up in the damn booth.
Well, yeah, when you talk about talent, I mean, George Pickens had a great game. I think he's really coming into his own. It's just one of those. Jalen Warren looks great when he spells Najee. So it's a decently talented group. The offensive line is much better than last year. I don't think they can be this bad all year. I think that would be a little difficult to do, frankly. But we'll see what happens. Last game I want to touch on, Zach. We'll kick this one to you.
Please don't be what I think it is.
No, you'll like this one.
Oh,
You like when this team gets their teeth kicked in. So, you think Trey Lance gave the Cowboys a lot of intel on how to beat the Niners?
No.
You think it might have just been bad intel? Maybe he doesn't know what they do, and that's why he's gone.
Maybe what he was telling them is what he thought that they do.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's also why he had no sustained success with the Niners.
Right.
So outside of that, I mean, Kittle with 3 tuds against that Cowboys defense is just absurd.
Yeah,
Cowboys defense kind of looked like the Giants defense, not existent at all. I don't know how much they're missing Trayvon Diggs because I only see Diggs as like a interception merchant, I guess you could say, because he still gives up like the most yards in coverage or whatever. But since he went down, it seems like that defense has kind of taken a toll, whether it be through confidence or energy or just having like that staple guy outside of Micah that can help mesh that defense. They just haven't looked good. They need to move on from Dak. 6 seasons of the same, part of my French, bullshit. They just need a change.
It doesn't really seem like it, but Dak is currently the longest tenured quarterback with his current team in the league. Yeah, isn't that kind of wild?
That's pretty crazy. But at the same time, he should not be their starting quarterback. I don't know. I would like them to give Trey Lance a shot, just to see what he can still bring to the table under the right coaching. I mean, that might be a hot take because some people lost faith in him, but
that might be a longer term solution. I mean, I can see that too for sure. I think you could see them turning the page maybe over the offseason just because you can already kind of see it. Dallas wins 12 games in the regular season. Maybe they win the wild card game over a Vikings
no, yeah, you know what?
And then just
they're gonna
get
win the
their
wild card
asses
game.
kicked by Philly or San Fran.
They're going to win the wild card game against the NFC South winner.
Yes.
Yes, like they did last
Yes.
year.
They're gonna have the 5 seed and they'll beat Atlanta.
Yes.
And then they'll get just curb stomped by San Fran or Philly.
Okay, well that's what happened last year. So if you do that every year, then you're not going anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. And Dak is good, is the thing. Like he's irrefutably
for
good.
that system.
The
It's
problem
just
with
one of those things where it's like, is the ceiling high? Like, have we seen enough? You just ask Cowboys management, when they're thinking about this. Have we seen enough to be confident that we've hit our ceiling with Dak? And when you have guys like Micah and Trey Diggs and all the talent on the defensive side, Mozzie Smith, also Digozua, and you've got CD, and they like Michael Gallup a lot. They like Ferguson and Schoonamaker, and Tony Pollard will have a couple of more good seasons. You'd think that offensive line obviously is ridiculous when healthy. I think you kind of have to table that over the offseason. Have we hit our ceiling with Dak? In order to maximize the rest of the talent on the roster, do we have to go a different direction? Because he's older than he feels like he is.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he have one of the highest turnover amounts, like through interceptions in the league over the past couple seasons?
Last year he was up there. There were a lot of tipped picks though last year.
Yeah, which is fair.
Over
the last 3. Sorry,
he had terrible
tipped 3 seasons. It's been a lot of interceptions.
I just want to say that it's very difficult to go to this team of stars, basically. Up and down the roster, you got stars.
No pun intended.
Yeah, whatever, yeah. It's very difficult to go to this team and say, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, we're going with Trey Lance from now on. They would be like, what? What are you talking about? Dak's our guy. Dak's our quarterback. You cannot just say that. It's got to be a huge freaking thing where you change everything about the culture of this team. You go to upper management, Jerry Jones, down to the damn last guy on the roster and say, we are the Dallas Cowboys and we're changing our quarterback because Dak Prescott has not been able to get it done. You can't do it midseason. He hasn't been that bad. At all. Yes, he got stomped by San Francisco. They have the best defense I've ever seen. And it's just, you cannot do that to these players because these players are all in on winning a championship this season, last season, next season. The quarterback is the most important position. If you're going to make a quarterback change from somebody that is been an all-pro and has proven himself to win playoff games in the past, it's a big deal. It's a big decision. And if you're going to have to do even any starting quarterback, it's very hard to explain to the team and the boys that you're changing because he's been the quarterback, as John just pointed out, he's been the longest tenured out of every quarterback in the league. This is a big decision if you're going to make a decision, and you can't just do it in week 5 and be like, all right, you know what? We can't beat San Francisco. Let's Trey Lance. Let's go, baby. That's not, no, that isn't how it works. They're going to have to ride it out. And if Dak was to win the Super Bowl, he's going to have to just rely on the defense and hope that he just has to make one play. And obviously that's not the type of game that they're going to be in. I don't think they're going to get past that second round, but I'm just saying, you cannot make this decision just brash and be like, okay, we're going to move on from you. It's going to be a big thing. And if it happens soon, everybody's going to know about it. It's not just going to be, and it's going to be coming. The players are going to be like, yeah, okay, we get it. But now it's not the time.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's kind of one of those things too, where you never want to, as a front office, go into a draft or a free agency outwardly needing a quarterback, because from a leverage standpoint, you're going to have to give up a shit ton to move up in the draft because they know why you're moving up. You might have to pay 3 years, $84 million guaranteed in 2019 to get Kirk Cousins, or 2018, excuse me. When you're kind of backed into a corner like that. So it would have to be, I think at least you'll have to kind of show the league anyway, even if it's a little tongue in cheek, that, hey, we're still going with Dak. Dak's our quarterback, really, up until the second you pull the trigger on whoever the replacement is. And there's got to be a solid one in place. So if it ends up being decent draft position, if the season's disappointing, or it's just kind of the same old divisional round knockout, it's got to be one of those really calculated measures where you have to know where you're going, just given the talent on the rest of the roster, I think. Because the rest of the roster is nowhere near that point where you got to think about, we got to go in a different direction. They're doing all the right things around Dak, but this might be a real litmus test this year of, can you lift a roster that's contending to like a Super Bowl level, and that's going to come down to getting past Philly and getting past San Fran, and I think a lot of people coming into that Sunday night football game, Niners Cowboys, were expecting a heavyweight bout, and that was a tough look for Dallas. Did you guys see the banter between Micah Parsons and Debo on his Instagram or something?
Yes.
Micah said something like, "You don't want to see us again," or like, "Can't wait to see them again," or whatever. And Debo was like, "I don't think you guys want to see us again. It could get even worse," or something like that.
No. Micah was like, "We still feel like that we're on the same level," and he was like, 42-10, bro. Like
yeah,
you're not close, dog. Like,
that was great. I love Debo. I watched his I watched like 8.5 minutes of him mic'd up during that game too. He's a good time, and Purdy's legit. I think at least legit enough. When the rest of this roster is this ridiculous, so they're going to be scary. I've still got AFC North football showing on here, even though we've
transitioned
far away.
I was going to say I do want to go to Pete's comment from before. He asked, "Is Dak a top 10 quarterback?" I'm pretty sure it's a consensus no. But I want to hear. I want to hear your guys.
Right there.
You think
he's in that 9 to 13 or 14 range for me still pretty comfortably. But that's kind of that area where it's like, are these guys really lifting you to those heights that a Mahomes, Josh Allen, what have you are? And that can go player to player, but he's in that, for me, that tier that includes like a Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins, probably like you might even have seen enough evidence now to put Brock Purdy in that category. At least he's close, I think, which is insane, but he's right in there. I think the line might be like Stafford. He might be the worst quarterback that I don't think Dak is conceivably better than. But maybe I wouldn't like scoff at it. Depending on the other 9, you know what I mean? Like if I saw him at 10 or 9, I don't think I'd scoff at it. I don't think he's even. I mean, I think 9 is the absolute highest you could have him for me. But close, I guess, is my answer.
I was gonna say I can probably name like 10 quarterbacks that I would very comfortably be able to put ahead of him. Like
so can I. I think I have him at 12 right now.
I would say I would put him closer to the 14-15 mark, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm also biased being a Giants fan, but I can say that. Whatever.
You're biased being a Giants fan, meaning you have Daniel Jones above him, or
no. I'm saying like I'm a Giants fan, so I think that Dak just naturally is
Cowboys, yeah.
All but right. I would probably put him in that 14-15 range. But
no, that's ridiculous.
I can go and look
12.
At every quarterback I have above him, but
12.
It's tough for me to like. So I mean, it's sometimes it's tough for me to like confidently and comfortably differentiate from guys that are in like.
It really is hard. It really is.
I think for a lot of groupings of these quarterbacks, you're really splitting hairs. It's probably Mahomes' tier of his own, and then you're like, Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, maybe Jalen Hurts, maybe is in that conversation for some people. Like I think I could hear an argument for everyone there. I think Josh might be starting to separate himself a little bit, but Herbert's looked really sharp too. And then you get past that, and you're like, well,
I was going to say, it really comes down to how highly regarded you think of that 2020 QB class.
Yeah, right. Yep. Okay, we've got a couple more bite-sized sports analysts fresh out of the stable
Bring 'em in.
to talk a little bit of AFC South football. And so I will bring them to the stage here.
Oh yeah.
Now, if I can click on them, we've got Kev of Bite Size Colts and James of Bite Size Titans. Gentlemen, how the heck are you?
Oh, boys.
Oh, I've been better.
Yep. So for those of you listening and watching, Kev and James actually had a big old Bite Size meetup with Nate as well of Bite Size Bears at the Colts Titans game this Sunday.
Really?
A little bit of tailgate action, it looked like. And then you saw the all 22 in real time. So tell us what that game was like. What went right, what went wrong. Kev, I have a Kev specific question for you once you guys kind of go through your recap a little bit, but give us just a snippet of the podcast.
First off, I think we need to talk about Kev's pants. Did everybody see Kev's pants?
Yeah, let me get those. Let me bring those up here.
Listen, I became those pants did more for my content creation career than any of the work that I've ever done. All of Colts Nation wants those pants. They don't care about me. They're all just follow me so they can DM like, where can I find those pants? So don't worry, I will share the wealth. It's just they were a gift, so I legitimately don't know where they came from.
Kev was in straight jumpsuit, like those pants and a windbreaker. Kev was in full wild mode. They had explain this one to me, guys. Kev's a Colts fan. They're Colts fans, but somehow they had bear claw marks on them. Did you see this?
I did not see that. No.
Once John pulls them up, like they had like 3 claw marks like on each of it. It was the weirdest thing ever.
That's what that horseshoe, it's holding in those big ferocious claws. Everybody knows that. See,
man.
if you were a cowboy, you'd know that. You know, that's why they got to put those big old metal horseshoes on.
Yeah.
Keep those retractable claws at bay.
Oh my lord! Look at this.
So the pants are electric.
Yeah, see, they got like claw marks on them. Like, what is that?
That's cool.
Yeah, and then the hoodie's tight. I like the old logo on the hoodie too.
The hoodie was dope. The hat was his getup was good. He was.
I also had Colt socks on. You just couldn't see. Left. I found some. Oh, whoops!
Moved the wrong Kev.
Oh, that's funny. By the time I left, I added some gloves too. So now for the next time,
it was cold.
I'll be to the nines. But no, the experience was great. Touchdown Town is fun. $3 beers if you can get there. That was great. We got to watch the most boring British football you could ever watch that morning.
That sucked.
That was so much fun. But other than that, it was good. I mean, as a Colts fan, you walk away from that game with mixed emotions because it's like, oh, this is why we can't have nice things. I saw the good Thanos meme. The streak is over, but what did it cost? Everything. Yeah. So we got our win. Tied for first in the division, but at what cost? Luckily, I'm a Minshew guy, so
Minshew mania.
I don't mind. It's not the outcome I would have chosen, but I don't hate it as much as the rest of Colts Nation does. I bet.
I am in quite a different spot, boys.
Glass case of emotion.
Yeah, I am now extremely worried about Tennessee because I think they're going to go to London and get walloped by Lamar Jackson, who is over there practicing right now while Tennessee waits till tomorrow to leave. Tennessee's in trouble. That's good news. Is D-Hop still got it? That's cool. Like he still looks part.
Yes, 8 catches, $130,
$140. Yeah,
$140. Okay, yeah.
He couldn't finish drives. He couldn't get his feet down on the halfback pass touchdown, which would have probably changed the whole game early.
Mm-hmm.
And the Titans, the rest of them looked bad. Tannehill was decent on Sunday, but their defense got gashed by somebody not named Jonathan Taylor, so that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, former fucking Bills legend Zach Moss. Hey,
Yeah.
Hey, James.
Yeah, who is number 21 and what the hell has he done?
Mouse this,
Zach
mouse that, mouse this, mouse that.
He wants some of that Jonathan Taylor money.
James,
Yeah.
I'm just, if you have any contact with any of your players, I would just tell them, don't go to London, stay home, or forfeit the game, and just don't
Nick hates London.
I would not go there at all. I wouldn't go if I were you.
I don't want him to go because I think Lamar Jackson's just going to run around wild on him, and it's going to be an embarrassing game. And then we're going to come back 2-4 going into a bye week and be like, all right, now what? Is it time to fire or sell?
Lamar just came off 10 points. I don't think he's doing that, but I just wouldn't go anyway because
Steelers front gave him a lot of trouble. Titans D could hang tough.
Tier Tart is out though, and that's the problem. And
the run defense. Yeah,
the run defense. They were creating holes where all five of us could have ran through holding hands. It was bad news. It was ugly. Colts fans are insufferable too, by the way. Oh my god.
Don't I know it, man?
Yeah,
it's like half my Twitter following. Yeah.
Yeah. Kev agrees.
Except for you guys. I didn't mean that. You guys following me, you're the best.
It was bad news bears for me, great for Kev. Although the AR injury, we both got a real nasty view of it, and it was ugly.
Yep, that's what I wanted to ask you about, Kev. What is the latest on that? I know he went to IR as well. We talked about my Justin Jefferson injury at the top, so this is a safe space. But what have you heard from the beat the rest of this week, and what's kind of the outlook that you've gathered?
So far, what we hear is a level 3 AC joint separation. Now, I mentioned that to James. I'm still not willing to confirm that one. I think that's still a bit speculation. I haven't seen the Colts or Anthony Richardson confirm that. It just seems to be the consensus that's after those negative X-rays that's what it would have to be.
That's that Stafford injury. He got his rookie year, I think, right? Or early anyway. He had the AC joint thing early on.
Yep. I think probably the most famous AC joint separation we can all remember is the one that Kevin Love received courtesy of Kelly Olynyk, which is a very difficult sentence to say. But that level 3 AC joint separation, the thing about that is it's right on the borderline of surgery or not. So spoiler alert for our podcast, I've suffered this injury. I've suffered a level 5 AC joint separation. It did require surgery to heal. I am not an athlete at all. It took me several months to heal from physical therapy, but my range of motion is better than it was before, or is better now than it was then, is what I meant to say. So it is something you can come all the way back from, but I still don't know if it's going to require surgery. And where I'm at with it, guys, I'll be on the fence depending on this timeline as to how much I want to see Anthony play again. If I'm very nervous about this. He's missed more games than he's played so far in his young career. And this is a team that rushed back Jonathan Taylor last year. And we all have lived through that aftermath. And I would hate to see them rush back a franchise quarterback, especially after all the hell we saw with Andrew Luck constantly battling injuries. If it's something where they're not expecting him back until the final couple weeks of the season, I might just shut him down because unlike the rest of my, as James put it, insufferable Colts Nation, talking playoffs. People are out here saying playoffs were always the goal. Get out of here with that, sir. All right. Outside of that locker room, nobody believed this team was a playoff team. So I don't think we need to gamble our future on a couple of wins this season. So I don't know, guys. Maybe we'll see Anthony Richardson return. Maybe we won't, but we're not going to see him for at least a month. I think that's generous to have him back in a month. So
how funny would it be though for a Gardner Minshew led Colts team to snatch the division from the Jags?
I mean, my boy has 50,000. My boy has 55,000 on the Jags, so I sure hope not for his sake.
I feel bad for JT. He comes back excited to play with AR, and then boom, you're done.
Yep.
Dude, that's how I've been daydreaming and drooling about a red zone offense with AR and Jonathan Taylor running the RPO and a 6'7" Jelani Woods at tight end. Jelani is finally about to come back. I'm never gonna get it.
Nope.
I can never even get two of them on the field at the same time, let alone all three.
Yeah.
How about Kyler? What is his name? Granson.
Kylan Granson. Yeah.
Kylan.
No, they have good tight end. Will Mallory could be solid. The rookie out of Miami.
Fast too.
Alex Ogletree's played pretty well. Honestly, Mo Alley Cox is the odd man out in that tight end room, but he's also the veteran and the one that seems to have the fewest injury issues. So he'll be here for a while, I bet.
If you guys want Daniel Bellinger, just give us like your best offensive line piece, and we can just call it even at that.
You guys might want to try him at tackle,
Maybe for Daniel Bellinger. James, where do you feel like the Titans go from here then? So we always kind of thought they'd be feisty.
Yep.
Especially after the D-Hop move. But now they go from a Colts loss. It was a tough game. Zach Moss goes for 25 touches, $195. That sucks. Some injuries going on.
Bad.
Do you feel like this is another season where Vrabel just Vrabels them to like 8-9 wins, and you're kind of just in that purgatory NFL purgatory draft space that I live in?
Yes, I absolutely see this happening.
Yeah.
And the problem is the AFC South's no good, so 8-9 wins just gives you enough hope that you can pull it off. And it's me and Kev, we just filmed our reactions to it, and we went through the Titans 20 and 21 draft class. Everybody talks about like it's Tannehill and Henry, they're falling off the map. Reality, it's the 20 and 21 draft class. There is one starter from both those draft classes, and he got cooked on Sunday on the outside by every Colts receiver that looked at him, and then made bullshit excuses after the game.
Blamed it on the refs.
Blamed it on the refs. Said it's hard to play against two teams, the refs and the opposing receivers.
What he meant to say, it's hard to play against the opposing team in your own shoelaces. Sorry, James, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we're going to be in purgatory, and then it's just going to be a mess. And it sucks because D-Hop actually looks good, but the offensive line's crap. Cornerbacks are crap. The defensive line, usually good, was not good last weekend. Receivers are a bust. Burks is starting to look more and more like an injury-prone bust. It's bad, and there's just no young talent on the team outside of Skoronski, the guard. Like, and you're going to win. He probably will. Drag him to accidentally 8 wins, and all of a sudden, now what? We're out of, because you won't know what you have in either of your quarterbacks again. So you might as well just go 3rd round draft pick 2 years ago, 2nd round this year. Might as well draft the 1st rounder next year, but it'll be like the 20-something pick, and we'll get a turd. And I don't know, John. It sucks, man.
Yep.
I know you're living it right now.
I'm living it. It sucks. You know what though? Tennessee Baltimore should be fun to watch. I think it's just gonna be ugly. Like, not even bad football. They're just gonna beat each other up. And I think
it's just gonna be old school mean football.
Yeah.
You know what I think is unbelievable right now is that we're 5 people with Giants, Vikings, Bills, Colts, and Titans, and the Colts fans the only one that's happy after last week.
Yeah.
Colts fans the only one with a win.
How about that?
That's bad.
What a weird world we live in, guys.
I was going to say, on the right side, my D-Hop 1,300 yards prediction is on pace to come true. So
he was good last weekend, and they just couldn't get him in the end zone. But he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, I think right now he's on pace for 11 to 12, but if he keeps this up, he'll easily hit that 1,300.
And if Burks never plays, like, they're going to throw it to him all the time because nobody else can catch the ball.
Yep.
Disappointing is what it is, boys. Disappointing.
My fantasy team could use some more Chig targets, but
he can't catch the ball. He keeps dropping it.
I know it.
I guess his
I
hands
think
got
they
broken in the
just go away
offseason.
from it more.
My,
James, I know about purgatory and I know about tight
Yeah.
ends who can't fucking catch.
Yeah, they
My-
threw him one out in the right flat, and it just went right through
Yep.
his hands.
my high school
Yep.
football coach used to say, yeah, like when you would drop the ball, he'd be like, yeah, hit you in the wrong spot. I hit you in the hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's hardest part to catch it.
Oh man. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on, guys, and
Appreciate you
and
guys.
knocking out Colts Titans. That's actually all we've got for tonight. So we will catch you guys again. We'll be back Tuesday next week. So we'll see you in 6 days. We'll be breaking down week 6. Really quick, there is don't watch Thursday night football, but there is a game to keep an eye on that you might not have been already. It's Broncos Chiefs. Really shouldn't be close, but Colts Jaguars for the division.
Yeah, big one.
3-2, 3-2. That'll be really fun. And the Niners play the Browns. We could have talked about the Niners for 20 more minutes. I don't know. Pete said it in here too. I don't know if San Fran may not lose, and they might.
So good.
I don't know who or what is going to stop them. They are just on an absolute heater, loaded everywhere. So watch that team while you can. Cherish these games that they play because this is a great team.
Mhm.
And the Colts could Gardner Minshew and the Colts could knock out Jacksonville this week, which would be cool to see as well.
Minshew mania, baby.
Yeah, a couple other just like rough games on the slate, like Dolphins play the Panthers. I think that should be gross.
Bills Giants is gonna be fucking horrible.
Bills Giants will suck. Monday night is Chargers and Cowboys, so
Should be
we'll
fun.
see which team loses first. But that should be a good, fun game. But hey, if you stuck around this long, we appreciate you. If you tuned in at all, thank you very much. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are trying to combat the very difficult YouTube algorithm, and every comment, every like, every subscription helps us achieve our goals and keep bringing you guys as much content as we possibly can. Stick around. Tomorrow we've got the bounce live at 9/8 Central, right on the channel here. We've got all of our NFL specific pods. We've got bite-sized Titans. We've got bite-sized Colts. We got bite-sized Vikes. We got bite-sized Bears, and bite-sized Steelers so far. So check those out. You can find those on Spotify or right here on the channel. But until then, have a great week. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you Tuesday.
Peace, boys.